Good morning. Well, today we talk about something which is very pertinent to you, and that is your knowledge and your understanding of life. You know what life is, but do you really understand what life is? You see, as in education, there is a vast difference between knowledge and understanding. And understanding a thing is much more important than pure, mere theoretical knowledge. Life is a very complex riddle. And we know life as it is. For some people, it's a happy family life. For some people, it's a pursuit of knowledge. For some people, it's fame. For some people, it's wealth. As a matter of fact, you have many centers of life. You have an intellectual center, you have an emotional center, and you have a body center. And each center has its own complexities. As a matter of fact, in each center there is a mechanical part and there is a magnetic part. The mechanical parts act like a machine, and the magnetic part is the important part because that acts with your awareness, your understanding. You know, your mechanical movements and your thinking, they have got to change if you want to really understand that. And it's a magnetic center which has to take preponderance of that. And then, the question arises, what is the mechanical part? The mechanical parts are your emotions. Very simple. And most of them are either negative or positive, mostly negative. You have got to conquer those emotions, like jealousy, like hatred. And when you conquer these emotions, as a matter of fact, I shouldn't say conquer, I should say sublimate those emotions. Then you are led to awareness of what real life is. And that is understanding life. You can increase your awareness, and the increased awareness can even turn poison into medicine. Otherwise, even medicine can be poison. Now, I'll give you a very simple example. A guy is progressing and you feel jealous. That emotion is going to kill you, destroy your creativity, make you feel sad, dejected, despondent, frustrated, and even cynical. The very thought that guy whom you consider either your inferior or your equal is now becoming better, is killing you. This is the mechanical part. Now comes the magnetic part. You try to find out why is this guy progressing. Identify the cause of his progress. Identify why he is better than you are. And when that happens, that jealousy becomes envy. And envy is a positive desire to do better. The person of whom you are jealous becomes almost a role model for you. So what was a negative emotion becomes the promoter of your positive emotion, and you understand. Now your intellectual level also understands. This center, the physical center and the emotional center, push your intellectual center The emotion which was negative has been transmuted and sublimated into a positive force, and you become more strong, more powerful, more able to take the matters head on, and you are successful. So then, in our life, the most important thing is relationships. Relationship between a husband and a wife, between a parent and a child, between colleagues, between boss and the subordinate. Now, when you are dealing with emotion and relationship with emotions, here there's a combination of the magnetic process as well as the emotional center and the body center are coalescing, they are joining together. At this time, you have got to keep yourself relaxed and increase your awareness, understanding of those emotions. People usually ask me that in your 52 years of marriage, do you not ever fight? I said no. My wife and I, we play a game of chess. The chess of life. And this game, both of us play to lose. Lose to our partner, with the result that both of us win. So the desire to lose to your partner and a consistent effort to ensure that your partner wins ultimately leads to your winning. You see, the moment you are demanding, the moment you have a compulsion in the relationship, it's a drudgery, not a relationship. So to understand the relationship, your emotional center again has to undergo a transmutation. The magnetic center has to overcome, and the magnet attracts. But don't forget, in the magnetic theory, is the unlike poles are separated. Is the like poles are attracted. Now, likeness need not be emotional. As a matter of fact, the likeness is understanding each other's needs, and that is important. You see, what happens is, in understanding life, you have got to choose and differentiate between should and choice. Now, these two words are very important. You can have knowledge with should, but you cannot have understanding with should. Should is a word which creates stress. It limits your option. You should do this, you should do that, you should study hard. No, study does not mean that you are going to just read a book. So should is a very constraining factor. And that's why I say our parents and the religious teachers are in fact criminal, because all the time they are talking about is should. It is not should. Should also envisages that you should judge. And the Bible says, judge not, lest ye be judged. Everybody judges. No judgment, you can be judgmental and yet be human. You see, it's not a demand, it's a choice. You have a relationship by choice. If you are in an unhappy relationship, whether it's your job or whether anywhere else, you can always walk away from it. You have an option. But if you exercise the option of walking out, don't forget you are accepting defeat. Understanding the relationship. You know the relationship is there. That's the first part. Then the second part is understand the relationship. Understand the subtle nuances of the relationship. And that will help you unravel the puzzle of life, the puzzle of relationship. To be aware of the life, to understand the life, negative emotions should be there, but they have to be sublimated, as I told you. Jealousy should be sublimated to envy and as a guiding principle. Love should not be binding. You know, when I watch some movie or some play, I see the emotional blackmail that is indulged in all the time. And that is the reason that the relationships become a stranglehold. They are suffocating. They are corroding. They are corrupting the human mind and the human psyche. So, choose a new will that you will not be driven by the negative emotions, but you will ensure that the negative emotions become positive emotions and the guiding forces. You know, jealousy and envy, you have to differentiate. As a matter of fact, create your potential. Now, how can you create a potential? When the centers, intellectual center, the body center, and the emotional center come together and interact with each other, your intellectual capabilities are enhanced. And that is what is extremely important. You know, failure of others should not give you joy. You know, the basic tragedy is what Aristotle says in Poetics, that you identify with a tragic hero. When the tragic hero suffers, you have a feeling of catharsis. You have identified yourself with the hero, but the hero has fallen. You have not. And the mind of your mind, you think, there by the grace of God goes I. I could have been in that situation, but I am saved. Now that aspect of identification converts your emotional center into an intellectual center. There by the grace of God goes I. The catharsis is taking place. Catharsis is purgation. Purgation of your negative resources and negative emotions. And what's left behind is pure you. You, and you. You know, I have a bone to pick up with these religious leaders who say, don't be egoistic. Don't believe in self. Don't talk of I. You should talk of I. You should be egoistic. If you are not egoistic, you cannot understand yourself. And understanding yourself is the first step to awareness. How can you recognize your worth if you do not have some ego? You know, ego is with a person who understands himself, his positive and his negative aspects, and then dwells on the positive aspects to the detriment of the negative aspects, with the result that slowly and steadily the negative aspects keep diminishing. And when they are diminishing, the positive emotions would keep on expanding and increasing. And as the positive aspects keep on increasing, your awareness also keeps on increasing. Your understanding, your comprehension keeps on increasing, and therein lies your success. Knowledge is one thing. You have done your master's, you have done your engineering or medicine or whatever. But understanding what has prompted you to do it and correlating that knowledge to the understanding of life. Again, there's a point of correlation between yourself and the cosmos. When the people say that you are just one particle of the whole universe, you are not. You are the whole universe yourself. You do not depend on the universe. The universe depends on you. On each one of you. The only thing is you are not aware of your capabilities. You do not understand your capabilities. And that shortage, that misconception of your not being able to understand and comprehend your capabilities makes you feel redundant, surplus, useless. The day you recognize and become aware, of yourself, the inner self, what you really are, you would be what you should be. Knowledge is important. But understanding that knowledge so as to utilize that knowledge in appropriate time is a hallmark of a person being successful. This is true in your career. This is true in your relationship. This is true in your life. This is true for yourself. This is true for the whole universe that you are inhabiting in and you are representative of. Knowledge is a means to understand yourself, your relationship, and all aspects of your life. But, as I said, just knowledge is like putting books on a donkey's back. Without understanding, knowledge is of not much use. Might be some use, but real exploitation of knowledge, again, real exploitation of knowledge results in understanding, awareness, and makes you a real human being.